As we approach the 12th month of strict confinement, government officials are urging citizens to continue their adherence to the lockdown protocols for their own safety. Our reporter, Jessica Johnson, is standing by with the latest developments. Jessica, what can you tell us?
Henry Klein had been in an incredibly strict lockdown for a year. Life had become monotonous and tedious for him, confined within the four walls of his home. The strict regulations enforced by the authorities aimed to keep everyone safe, but they also left Henry feeling trapped and suffocated. Every day, Henry woke up to the same routine. He would rise with the sun, groggily preparing a simple breakfast of beans on most days. Beans were easy to come by. It was beans for breakfast every day. Then, Henry would settle in front of the TV all day, his only companion being the haunting silence of his empty house. The hours would blend together as he watched Netflix, movies, reality show repeats, documentaries, or he kept up to date with the death toll on the news.
As the nation battles against the relentless spread of the virus, authorities have issued a stern reminder that we must remain committed to the lockdown measures, despite the weariness that has settled in after a year of confinement. In a press conference earlier today, the leading government scientist, Dr. Emily Thompson, addressed the public, emphasizing the critical importance of staying at home.
The past year has tested our resilience and determination as a nation. We have made significant progress in containing the virus thanks to the collective sacrifices and efforts of our citizens. However, we find ourselves facing a new challenge. The emergence of new variants and a surge in cases demands that we extend our lockdown period for an unprecedented amount of time.
Dr. Thompson further explained that the decision to extend the lockdown was not made lightly, but was based on data-driven analysis and consultation with public health experts. She stressed that the virus's unpredictable nature requires a sustained and unified response from the entire population.
While we understand the fatigue and frustration caused by prolonged confinement, we must remember that our actions directly impact the well-being of ourselves and others. By adhering to the lockdown measures, we can significantly reduce the transmission of the virus and save lives.
The government scientist went on to provide advice on how citizens could navigate through these trying times.
It is essential to prioritize our physical and mental well-being during this extended lockdown period. Maintain a daily routine, exercise regularly within your homes, and engage in activities that bring you joy. Stay connected with loved ones through technology, as social support is crucial for our emotional resilience. Lastly, follow the guidelines set forth by health authorities, including wearing masks, practicing good hand hygiene, and getting vaccinated when eligible.
Dr. Thompson's words serve as a stark reminder that the battle against the virus is far from over. It is a call for unity, resilience, and a continuation of the sacrifices made thus far.
Thank you, Jessica, for that comprehensive report. It is clear that we must stay committed to the lockdown measures for the greater good of our society. Let us all remain vigilant and do our part in fighting this novel enemy. As we face this extended period of confinement, let us remember that by adhering to the guidelines and supporting one another, we can emerge stronger, united, and with a brighter future on the other side. Stay safe, stay home, and take care of yourselves and your loved ones. This concludes our special report. We will continue to bring you the latest updates on the ongoing lockdown measures and the efforts being undertaken to combat the virus.
The isolation took its toll on Henry's mental well-being. He missed the simple joys of going for walks in the fresh air, hearing the laughter of children playing, and experiencing the warmth of human interaction. He yearned for the days when life was vibrant and free, before the world was consumed by fear and uncertainty. He stood by the window watching the sun dip below the horizon. An overwhelming sense of restlessness seized him. The stillness of the countryside weighed heavily on his soul, and he made a bold decision. He would break the rules and venture outside during the strict curfew. With a pounding heart and a flicker of rebellion in his eyes, Henry prepared to embark on a hike toward the village, a 4-mile walk east. The night was cloaked in darkness, with only the moon's pale glow to guide his path. He chose to venture along the quiet back roads, as not to bump into the night patrol from the virus task force. As he stepped outside, a rush of exhilaration coursed through his veins. The air felt fresher than ever. With each step, the weight of confinement lifted from his shoulders, and he felt alive once again. Henry walked along the deserted country roads, listening to the rustling of leaves and the symphony of night life. He explored the familiar landscape with a newfound curiosity, pausing to marvel at the beauty of the night. It was as if the world had been painted anew, and he reveled in the freedom he had thought about all year. In the depths of the forsaken countryside, Henry stumbled upon a farmhouse. The night wrapped around the small structure, cloaking it in a shroud of mystery. Curiosity and the faint smell of steak pie consumed him, drawing him toward its door, which lay wide open. Henry's heart raced as he entered the dimly lit interior. He had expected to be chased away by the occupant of the house at any moment, but the place appeared to be empty. The air was heavy with the scent of nostalgia, mingling with a faint aroma of cooked food that drifted from the kitchen. His eyes widened in disbelief as he beheld a sight akin to the Mary Celeste. The table was set with plates, as if the occupants had vanished in the midst of cooking their meal. The oven emitted lingering warmth, evidence that it had been used not long ago. The curiosity that initially drew Henry now mingled with a primal hunger. He couldn't resist the temptation to satisfy his own appetites. Fueled by a mix of desperation and audacity, after a quick search of every room, Henry made himself comfortable. He tucked into the abandoned feast, feeling a strange intimacy with the unseen hosts. He found a treasure trove of bottled solace, and he indulged, savoring each sip that washed away the burdens of confinement. But just as complacency seeped into his bones, a peculiar sound shattered the tranquility. Henry's senses heightened, his body tensing with apprehension. He hastily searched for anything that could serve as a weapon. The groans grew louder, closer, and the realization dawned upon him with horrifying clarity: patients of the cerebrius virus. Mortality rate from the virus was extremely high, but those who did survive didn't exactly live. They didn't exactly drop down dead either. They exhibited erratic behavior, heightened aggression, and a loss of impulse control. The patient is marked by a notable decline in cognitive function and an insatiable craving for human flesh. His heart pounding like a thunderous drum, Henry bolted toward the nearest window, his escape route beckoning through the glass. With a surge of adrenaline, he crashed through the fragile barrier. The clearing that lay before him, once bathed in darkness, now writhed with frenzied motion. The undead corpses, animated by insatiable hunger, pursued him relentlessly. Their ghastly moans filled the air, sending shivers down his spine. Henry sprinted with all his might, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Yet, to his dismay, the patients displayed an unsettling swiftness, defying the constraints of their decaying bodies. They closed in on him, their rancid breath brushing against his neck, their hands reaching out with grotesque longing. Cornered and desperate, Henry sought refuge in an abandoned vehicle. The metal shell provided a meager barrier against the impending doom that encircled him. He huddled in the cramped space, his heart pounding against his chest like a desperate plea for salvation. Outside, the patients amassed, their twisted forms pressing against the vehicle's frail defenses. Henry's mind raced, overwhelmed by a mix of dread and resignation. He was a prisoner, trapped within a coffin of steel, waiting the moment when the horde would break through and consume him. But just as despair threatened to consume him entirely, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. Figures clad in hazmat suits, their faces hidden behind gas masks, emerged from the darkness. They moved with calculated precision, wielding weapons designed to exterminate the patients of the cerebrious virus. The antivirus army, an enigmatic force summoned by the government, unleashed a barrage of gunfire upon the approaching horde. Bullets tore through decaying flesh, shattering bones and ending the grotesque existence of the infected. The air filled with the acrid scent of gunpowder, mingling with the stench of death. With the threat vanquished, the saviors approached the car, their gazes penetrating the darkness. The gas masks concealed their emotions, but their actions spoke volumes. They had saved Henry from being ripped apart by ravenous undead. Henry's heart swelled with gratitude and a newfound appreciation for the fragility of existence. He heard a shot coming from behind him. Henry glanced back at the lifeless corpses that littered the battlefield, a stark reminder of the horrors that lurked in the shadows. He fell forward, blood fell from his back. The official, an execution department agent, from the antivirus task force, was a dead shot.
Took out a horde, sir, and a lockdown offender.
Their bullet pierced Henry's heart valve with a single shot. He bled out quickly. Henry suffered a painless death. Before, an overwhelming hunger made him steadily rise to his feet.